Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a new video. In this video we're going to touch upon magnesium and the absolute importance of getting more magnesium into your system. Two of the greatest ways to get magnesium back into your system is to eat a diet rich in magnesium foods like chocolate and dark leafy greens, but also to supplement. And a lot of people have an aversion to supplementation, but ladies and gentlemen, in the world that we live in, with the bastardization of the soils and how depleted the foods are in very essential minerals, micronutrients, etc., it can be very, very beneficial to supplement certain things like magnesium. So I hope you enjoy this video, and let's get right into it.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a new video. We're going to talk about magnesium really quickly. Magnesium is so crucial. There are over 300 different enzymatic and physiological functions within your physiology that require adequate levels of magnesium in your system to take place. So if you are deficient in magnesium, which over 50% of the United States population is, I'd say it's upwards of 90%, then you are missing out on over 300 different physiological functions. And the truth of the matter is, ladies and gentlemen, there is actually over 500 of these functions. It looks like there's over 800. So magnesium deficiencies are through the board here in the United States, for one, because people don't supplement magnesium, and two, which is the most effective way to deplete your magnesium levels, is to live a lifestyle where you don't consume magnesium-rich foods, which are things like chocolate, which are especially like leafy greens. Dark leafy greens are usually very high in magnesium, ladies and gentlemen, and so many people don't eat that stuff. We live in a world where the adults are still programmed by the childhood programming of always wanting sweets, always wanting junk food. And they've made junk food easy and efficient and economical. So it's a lot easier to go buy a couple of dollar menu items than to go to your store and buy a big old thing of kale for $6 and to juice that or cook it. And it's just insane the type of world we live in. The world that we live in will, by default, strip away your magnesium levels, strip away your iodine levels, strip away your zinc levels, and strip away your selenium levels. Those four crucial components, when you become deficient in them, your life will become ruined, ladies and gentlemen, and your mind won't work properly. You won't have good memory recall. It will be more difficult for you to be in tune with your higher self. The body requires certain minerals and micronutrients to be in total balance. And the system overlords, the archons, the New World Order, whatever you want to call it, has specifically designed the foods to be deficient in certain key components that we require for our health. On top of that, the soils have become so bastardized and overused and overstimulated, and mainstream agriculture is just a joke. And to see what they put on the food, to see how they grow the food, they're using human excrement. Oftentimes in the United States, it's known as biosolids. Look it up. They're growing food in literal human shit. And on top of that, they spray these foods with horrible like pesticides, herbicides, fungicides, you name it. And the water that they feed these plants, or these foods that we're going to eat, you wouldn't even want to wash your car with because it's so high in the chlorine, the chloramines. When you spray chlorine on crops, ladies and gentlemen, in the soil, into the root bed, it damages all of the delicate different functions within the plant. So this is a huge problem. The foods don't have magnesium anymore because the soils are deficient, they're overused, they're abused, and on top of that, these plants are sprayed with specific components which further strip away their nutritional profile. So we live in a crazy world, ladies and gentlemen. We are living in kind of a matrix of sorts, a nightmare scenario, and there's a few specific things that are very easy to do and very economical, such as magnesium supplementation, which can drastically improve the quality of your life. So this is the Now brand, ladies and gentlemen, magnesium caps. I normally don't use this type of magnesium, but I am in an experimental phase. Normally I would use, normally I take magnesium internally and topically. And when I take it topically, I take magnesium chloride. I buy a spray bottle of it, which is a brine. It's from the Asutra brand. I have it in my Amazon store. I'll put links in the description below. And I spray that on my wrists, on my stomach, on my skin. On top of that, I take raw magnesium chloride crystals and I make an oil out of it by mixing 1 cup of distilled water with 1 cup of crystals. And I let that dissolve, and then I put it in a spray bottle and I spray it on my stomach and I rub it in. And this is a more efficient and economical way of getting a spray solution. However, the brine that I'm talking about, the little spray bottle that I buy, is a concentrated form of magnesium oil from the Zeekstein mineral bed, and it's a little bit stronger, so I use both. And on top of that, I will take magnesium usually twice a day internally. So I'm taking it topically in the form of magnesium chloride, and I'm taking it internally. Now I want to clarify something before we continue. When I take magnesium internally, most of the time I'm taking magnesium glycinate or magnesium bisglycinate or magnesium bicarbonate. I'll take magnesium citrate from time to time as well as malate, but normally I'm using the glycinates, the bisglycinates or the glycinates. Excuse me, I'm usually using magnesium glycinate or bisglycinate. I think those are probably the most effective ways or the effective forms. But there's a handful of different magnesiums, ladies and gentlemen. I am experimenting currently with the magnesium caps because this is economical, it's vegan. There's just rice flour, cellulose, silica, and a vegetable source of stearic acid, and this is magnesium in the form of magnesium oxide, magnesium citrate, and magnesium aspartate. So I'm in an experimental phase because I'm looking for cheap solutions to big problems, and this was only like $10 for 180 vegetable capsules. And I take 2 to 4 of these currently. And this has magnesium oxide in it, folks. And magnesium oxide exerts a laxative effect on people who have never taken it before, and it will help you eliminate stuff within your system. It'll create loose stools in most people for the first couple of weeks of taking it, but it usually goes away and will actually help you pass stools frequently. It can actually help you with digestion issues, which is why magnesium oxide is pretty interesting to me. It's really, really cheap and it gets a bad rap, but the suppressed research on magnesium oxide shows that it's actually highly absorbable and highly cheap in comparison to some of the more expensive forms of magnesium, such as, but not limited to, magnesium threonate. And magnesium threonate, ladies and gentlemen, is a very interesting form of magnesium that is used most readily by naturopaths and different alternative physicians for anxiety issues and depression problems. So if you have one of those things, or if you have anxiety problems, check out magnesium threonate and consider supplementing with it, because it does seem to exert a very powerful calming effect and self-confidence boosting effect on the mind. And that's one of the symptoms of low magnesium is confidence issues, depression, malaise, a negative outlook on life, feeling like everything's doom and gloom. This is linked directly, not always, but often, to magnesium deficiencies. So we're going to talk about magnesium, how to tell if you have a magnesium deficiency, and we'll go into a few different subjects after that, but I want to try to keep this video short. Magnesium deficiencies. It is said that upwards of 50% of the United States population is deficient in magnesium. However, I would say that 90+% of the public or the population is deficient in magnesium, because I've had a magnesium deficiency and I've fixed it, and I've had all the symptoms of low magnesium, so I know what to look for in other people. The sluggishness, the malaise, the anxiety, the irritability, the heart palpitations, the jitters, constipation issues, ladies and gentlemen. Low magnesium is one of the leading causes of heart attacks in the United States as well. But magnesium, ladies and gentlemen, if you have muscles that twitch, if you have malaise, constipation, these are just some of the signs of the fact that, hey, you may be low in magnesium and you need to get your magnesium levels up. And oftentimes when people have these symptoms, when they supplement with magnesium properly over a short period of time, usually those symptoms start to drastically improve and to the point of deleting. So that's a sign that you were magnesium deficiency. Now, you can go have a serum magnesium test done by a doctor, but 90% of the, or not 90% of the time, what am I saying? The problem with magnesium serum testing is that your body always works overtime to keep a specific amount of magnesium in your blood. Otherwise, you run the risk of having a heart attack or having heart failure, you name it. So even if you're chronically deficient in magnesium, your body will do whatever it takes to keep a certain amount of magnesium in your blood. So when you go to a doctor and they do a serum test and they say, you're not magnesium deficient, we don't know what's wrong with you. You could have a serious deficiency, ladies and gentlemen. Their testing just doesn't have the ability to find it, because once again, your body works overtime to keep a specific amount of magnesium in your blood to stay alive, to fuel different functions, you name it. Now, magnesium, again, there are so many different physiological functions that require magnesium to take place. We're talking about enzymatic functions, ladies and gentlemen, blood-related functions, metabolic functions, parathyroid function, brain function. It's good for the memory. It's good for the entire brain system. Magnesium is very calming to the mind and the emotions, which is a huge thing in and of itself. In such a stressful, stressed out world, being calm, who doesn't want to feel more calm, ladies and gentlemen? When you're calmer, you're going to have better decision-making processes, and everything's just going to function better within your life. But we need magnesium for glucose absorption and utilization, ladies and gentlemen. We need magnesium for protein synthesis and a handful of different things. So these are the magnesium caps, and there was something on here I wanted to read to you. Yeah, magnesium status is also important for regulation of calcium balance through its effect in the parathyroid gland. You need magnesium for different nerve impulse transmissions and so many different things. But one of the things that I find most interesting about magnesium, ladies and gentlemen, is its ability to improve the memory and drastically induce states of calm, which is something that I think everyone can benefit from. Again, so I'm taking 2 to 4 of these a day, currently in an experimental phase. But again, I don't want to repeat myself, but I want to say it one more time. I normally use magnesium bicarbonate, magnesium glycinate, or magnesium bisglycinate if I'm taking it internally. But this is cheap, $10 for 180 capsules, and I'm having great results with it, to be honest. Magnesium oxide, magnesium citrate, and magnesium aspartate. So if you're new to magnesium, I would look into magnesium bicarbonate, magnesium glycinate, and magnesium bisglycinate, and or magnesium threonate if you have anxiety issues. Now, there are cheaper forms of magnesium, and many people have great results with them, such as, but not limited to, this type of magnesium, magnesium citrate, magnesium malates. You might want to look into getting a magnesium blend or a magnesium complex that utilizes multiple different forms of magnesium. Many people have great results with that. So I'm just throwing some ideas out there for you, ladies and gentlemen, because magnesium is such a huge problem, a deficiency in magnesium. And again, we get magnesium deficient by eating foods deficient in magnesium, and we eat foods here in the matrix that actually strip away our magnesium reserves. So you can think this is all some joke. I'm here to give you information that's drastically improved my life, and I've seen it improve hundreds of other people's lives, and I want to help you. And mineral supplementation in a demineralized world is a huge, huge thing, ladies and gentlemen. People don't understand the importance of minerals, micronutrients, things like zinc, selenium, iodine, magnesium, essential fatty acids, vitamin D. My protocol revolves around you getting your mineral levels back up to normal, getting yourself the adequate levels of light, blocking the blue light, blocking the artificial light, grounding yourself to the earth, grounding your bed to the earth, upgrading your water supply. Some very simple things that are very cheap and very cost effective can become a foundation for the rest of your life, a foundation for the rest of your health platform. But it's going to be really difficult for you to get healthy if you're low in magnesium, because if you're low in magnesium, chances are you're depressed. You have a self-doubt issue. You have maybe guilt complexes from, I know I did at least, which oftentimes fuels depression. When you're low in magnesium, when you're low in selenium, when you're low in iodine, when your thyroid's all thrown out of whack, ladies and gentlemen, and your metabolism's fucked up, and your hormones are all out of balance, it's very difficult for you to remain at homeostasis and feel good about yourself and to feel balanced. And to fix these things, it's very simple. You just get rid of the things that are causing the problem, and you put back and replace the things that can solve the problem. And magnesium is a crucial, crucial player in this game of health. So magnesium glycinate and magnesium bisglycinate are very well tolerated by people internally. Magnesium chloride is the best form to put on your skin and take it topically. And I personally, if I were you, I would take it both topically and internally. But there's so many different forms of magnesium out there that it's fun to even experiment with all the different ones, ladies and gentlemen. Again, there's magnesium citrate, magnesium malate, magnesium oxide, magnesium aspartate, magnesium glycinate, bisglycinate, magnesium threonate. I'm not sure if I mentioned that one already. Magnesium bicarbonate, magnesium hexahydrate. Magnesium bicarbonate seems to be the most easily digested and broken down by the system. But I've got to tell you, these $10 magnesium caps from the Now brand, I'm having great results with them. I'm looking to find cheap solutions to big, serious problems because not everybody has these. Some of these magnesium complexes and magnesium supplements on the market are like $40 to $50 for a 30-day supply. That's ridiculous, ladies and gentlemen. That is all over-marketed bullshit. That is all. They're making so much money off you that it's, even if the product were decent, to spend that type of money for magnesium is ridiculous. I love the Now brand. Most of the Now brand supplements are incredibly cheap, and people equate something being cheap with it not working very well. These work great. All of the Now products, 99% of them that I've used, work better than the more expensive products. So it's not all about money, ladies and gentlemen. The Now brand and the 21st Century brand are some of the cheapest brands online, and they have great products. They have great effects on people's health across the board, and that's reflected in all the beneficial reviews people leave about these products. This is a good company. Not saying they're perfect, but they're, for the price, you can't beat that type of quality. And again, not to repeat myself, but this is magnesium oxide, magnesium citrate, and magnesium aspartate. And this is a magnesium complex, and magnesium oxide actually helps you release stored poisons in the gastrointestinal system. It'll help loosen up anything that you're holding on to. So not only will it help you get your magnesium levels up, ladies and gentlemen, but it'll help you get rid of any accumulated garbage in your system, which is an added bonus. So you can kill two birds with one stone by doing that. Magnesium deficiencies turn people into mindless idiots. Magnesium deficiencies cause the brain to operate very slowly and inefficiently, and it turns you into a zombie. And when you're deficient in magnesium, when you're deficient in these key micronutrients and minerals, it's very difficult to see past the programming. And that's what the system does. The system depletes your minerals. The system depletes your system. Your system especially attacks your thyroid, which is a butterfly-shaped gland within the throat region. They damage your hormones. They damage your metabolism. They strip away your magnesium and your minerals, your selenium, and in doing so, they turn you into a deficient individual. And when you're deficient, it only makes sense that when you're deficient, you're not going to be able to make the same discerning. You're not going to be able to discern things the same way as if you could if you were efficient, or if you had all of your minerals in their proper ratios. Because once again, there are over 300 different functions that require magnesium to operate properly, and there's actually well over 500. Magnesium is huge. It's one of the keys to life here, ladies and gentlemen. So, I have all this stuff on my Amazon store. I'm not saying that this is a perfect product. I'm saying that I'm in an experimental phase, but I do like the results so far. And if I, after this bottle, find that I had good results with it, I will start recommending it because it is cheap. But magnesium chloride, I take the Sutra brand magnesium brine. It's a little 3 to 4 ounce bottle. I put about 6 sprays of that on my wrists. Then I take some of the oil that I make by mixing a cup of magnesium chloride with a cup of magnesium or distilled water, excuse me. Take a few sprays of that and put it on the thin layer of fat on my stomach, and it absorbs readily. And I usually do this about 30 minutes before I go out and get my 10 to 20 minutes of sunlight every day, because magnesium levels actually help you get more out of the sun. You need magnesium levels to be up to par so that you can digest the light that hits your skin, because we are indeed a light being, ladies and gentlemen, and we do need the natural light, but you need these key minerals to be able to synthesize the light properly. Otherwise, you're going to burn, and the sun's going to be your worst enemy. Excuse me. So that pretty much wraps it up, ladies and gentlemen. I just wanted to talk about magnesium. Magnesium deficiencies are across the board. You see it reflected in heart problems, circulation issues, blood problems. You see it reflected in fatigue problems, and mood issues, and constipation. And when you get the magnesium levels back up, you usually find that those symptoms reverse and you start getting your life back. This is a great micronutrient. This is a great mineral to begin your supplementing experiment with. And then you can look into things like iodine and build off of that. But I'm going to wrap this one up. I love you. And until next time, peace be with you all.